Again, truly I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where two or more are gathered in my name, I am here among them. Matthew 18:19 through 20. You don't have to always manifest on your own. There's power in groups. Let's talk about it. Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimbaley. I'm hoping today's double story is going to inspire you to begin manifesting with groups. Thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me today. Thank you for all of those you've invited, and thank you for subscribing here and on the website at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. The God in me loves the God in you. We're going to get into this group collaboration thing, but before we get into that, let's get into today's numerology report, courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. It is Monday, July 22nd. The sun is in Leo. It's a full moon in Aquarius, a 6 universal month, a 1 universal week, a 1 universal day. The influence of the full moon in Aquarius today is a sign to think outside the box rather than sticking to the tried and true routine. This is important, if nothing else, for that fact that whatever you begin now will lead to consequences lasting into the remaining days of July. Also, along the way, be prepared for a little twists and turns when you least expect it. Leo, Aquarius, Aries, and those born on the 1st, 4th, 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, and 31st of any month will seem to understand this more and adjust accordingly. Once again, that Astro-Numerology report was brought to you by Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can get your forecast every day. Go to astar8.com. That's ASTAR, the number 8.com. You can download it on Google Play, at the App Store, and on Linktree/numbers and you. How well do you collaborate with the people that are close to you in your life? Whether that be your family, your friends, your co-workers, or even your children or significant other. Create a sense of harmony in your life by getting to learn those people that you spend most of your time with. You can get your numerology compatibility report. You can also get a report about yourself, get to know everything there is to know about you, and you can get your yearly forecast so you know how to plan and prepare for the year ahead. You can get all of these charts and more at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. Now let's get back to the show. Today is actually going to be a treat for you, and the reason why is because you're going to get two stories in one. So today, I'm going to first tell the story the way that it is written. Well, at least one of the ways it's written. I'm unsure about the original version of this story, but I'm just going to read what I found. And this story is the story of Stone Soup. Once upon a time, there was a great famine in the land. The people in one small village didn't have enough to eat, and definitely not enough to store away for the winter. People were afraid their families would go hungry, so they hid the small amounts of food they did have. They even hid their food from their friends and neighbors. One day, a wandering soldier came into the village. He asked the different people he met about finding a place to eat and sleep for the night. There's not a bite to eat in the whole country, they told him. You better keep it moving. Oh, I have everything I need, he said. In fact, I would like to make some stone soup to share with you all. He pulled a big black cooking pot from his wagon. He filled it with water and built a fire under it. Then he reached slowly into his knapsack, and while several villagers watched, he pulled a plain gray stone from a cloth bag and dropped it into the water. By now, hearing about the magic stone, most of the villagers were surrounding the soldier and his cooking pot. As the soldier sniffed the stone soup and licked his lips, the villagers began to overcome their lack of trust. Ah, the soldier said aloud to himself, I do like a tasty soup. Of course, stone soup with cabbage would be even better. Soon, a villager ran from his house into the village square, holding a cabbage. I have this cabbage from my garden, he said, as he held it out for the soldier. Fantastic, cried the soldier. The soldier cut up the cabbage and added it to the pie. You know, I once had stone soup with cabbage and a bit of beef, and that was delicious. The butcher said he thought he could find some beef scraps. As he ran back to his shops, other villagers offered bits of vegetables from their gardens, potatoes, onions, carrots, celery. Soon the big black pot was bubbling and steaming. When the soup was ready, everyone in the village ate a bowl of soup, and it was delicious. The villagers offered the soldier money and other treasures for the magic stone, but he refused to sell it. He had many offers for a cot to sleep on that night. The next day, he traveled on his way. And this story, the story of Stone Soup, was adapted from the classic folk tale from the Arnie Thompson folktale system. Thank you for allowing me to share a very significant story with you today. This is one of my favorite stories because I don't know if I've ever told you before, but my love of storytelling probably has a lot to do with my father. He was a person that loved to tell stories, and he had a story for every situation that came up, even as we were adults. And these stories will always teach us lessons about something. Maybe that's the reason why I'm so into it now. However, the story of Stone Soup is one of my favorite stories that he told. The reason why this was the favorite story is because this is the one that he told the most. It does have a very important lesson, but before we get into that lesson, I'm going to tell you that this was nothing like his version of the story. I mean, his version was a little close, but you have to add things in. Say, for example, this is how he told the story. He would begin telling the story, and he was always extra with it. He had to be extra detailed, like the part about the guy tasting the soup. He had to talk about how the guy smelled the soup, and he would go through all the motions, which made it take a very long time to get from the beginning to the end of the story. So, after about a couple of sentences, the story would be started, and then my sister would interrupt by arguing with him. Why do you have to keep telling the same story over and over again? He'd stop telling the story just to argue back with her, and then he'd move back into the story. And probably one of the reasons why I haven't forgotten this story is because it took me many years to get from the beginning to the end from his style of telling the story. So the synchronicity in all of this is that one day I happened to be watching an old television show. And in that television show, there was a lady that was a teacher, and she sat the class down to share a story with them. And guess what story she shared with them? The story of stone soup, which was yet another version of the same story. But from all three versions of this story, I get the same lesson. This is all about harmony. And today I want to share with you how important it is to be able to harmonize during manifestation. For those who may not have gotten it yet, I'm just going to tell you that what was in that man's bag was no magic stone. It was just plain stones. To break it down and manifest on purpose style, his intention was a pot of soup. But he had a problem. All he had was those stones and those intentions to create a pot of soup from those stones. But he wasn't getting any help from the people that were in the village. The people in that village knew that they were experiencing a famine. This is what made them fearful and doubt giving away their food. So, what the soldier had to do was the soldier had to build belief and trust in them. This part of the story is a lot like the subconscious mind. If there's no belief there for whatever it is that you want, you have to convince your mind that it is real. That's why it's important to take inventory of your belief systems. What things do you really believe in? Because if there's something that you're trying to manifest in your life and the belief is not there yet, you won't be able to create that in your life. So it is important, just like with this soldier, he knew that he had to convince them that he was doing more than just boiling rocks. So what did the soldier do? He put on his best performance and acted like that was the best soup he had ever tasted before. When he did that, he began to build trust in those villagers who then started to bring things out to add to his soup. Please note that he had to act as if he already had it. Matthew 18, the scripture from the beginning, states, when two or more gather in my name, I will be there. And in this case, that's what happened. When more people began to bring stuff out, the soup got better and better. But what caused that? Just for one moment, I want you to imagine that you're sitting in a room full of people, and each person in that room has a radio. Now, at first, when you're in there and you turn on your radio, it could be difficult for everybody else in the room, especially in such a large room, to hear your radio because it's just one radio at that point that's producing sound. Now imagine if another person turns on their radio and it's on the same station and at the same frequency of whatever it is that you're playing. You would notice that it gets a little bit louder in the room. Now just think for a moment, if everyone that has a radio in that room tunes into the exact same frequency, how powerful would that sound be? Don't forget, when we talk about manifestation, we're talking about energy, frequency, vibration. So just imagine that if you get on the same page with someone else and place your hearts and minds on the same thing, what will happen? The very first thing that will happen to make all of this play out is you begin to get in harmony with that other person. That mind is on the same thing that you're on. And when you bring that person into what you're already creating in your life, it amplifies the power of manifestation. The same way when those added radios pumped up the volume in the room, and the same way that that soldier who was creating stone soup did when he invited everyone to add something to the pot. There was a moment after my father passed that I did think about the fact, oh man, I never got to hear the end of that story. But as the universe would have it, I heard the rest of the story anyway. I was so shocked and surprised at what show he got it from, because I'm sure that's how he learned the story. The important thing was he was trying to deliver a message. He was trying to let us know that a lot of times things are better together. Things are better when we come in harmony with one another. That's why there's a such thing as collaboration. Think about those people that are in your space, those people that you are close to. Are there some people in your life that shares similar values and desires as you do? Can you come together as one and create something for the both of you? The story may sound as if it's just about a pot of soup, but it's so much more than that. If you look around close enough, you may see it happening. You may see it happen when organizations come together for a like cause, or either when a group of people come together and pray for a specific purpose. This also includes intercessory prayer. Intercessory prayer is when one person is praying for another, and that person is standing in belief that their prayer is going to manifest the results they are seeking. You can also do this in your own life. That's why it's important for you to gravitate to those who have like minds and like hearts and have those same desires as you want to bring forth into reality. When you come together in harmony with these people, the frequency you send out is a whole lot larger. Our universe flows in perfect harmony. We should be doing the same. Esther Hicks gave a beautiful illustration of this. She talked about being in a stream. She said that either you can go up the stream or you can go down the stream. When you're going up the stream, you're fighting against the current. However, if you only relax and begin to flow with the current, you can get to where you're trying to get much easier. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but I hope you get the point. Strive to float in harmony with others. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.